Well, welcome to our special discussion called Go Vegan. We have an esteemed panel right here with us. Let me introduce you to them. We have with us Professor Neena Joshi. She's the head of Food Science and Nutrition, University of Agriculture Science. Thank you for coming over here. We also have with us Arun Kumar, a nutritionist. Thank you. We also have with us food expert Raghu. And finally, we have with us Shalini, who's also a nutritionist. Now, President Clinton, let's get straight into it. He says that he feels much better, he's happy, he also looks younger, all because he turned vegan. Can you tell us something more about, does that actually happen, turning vegan changes completely?
From a very, the kind of diet that he was on, that's what we heard him say, that he was eating a lot of meat.
Yes.
And the kind of meat Americans eat is basically beef. And many times it is also like sausages and barbecued and all those things. So a lot of additives are added to that. And generally speaking, a meat diet, when it goes into the stomach, it is digested very well. It has a very good biological value, saying the protein quality is very good. But when it is digested and it passes on to the colon, there is no fiber. So instead of, it starts putrefying. And there is not bulk that is formed, and that does not help in a easy evacuation. So that means to say the toxins build up in the body. Whereas if you are a vegetarian, I will use the word vegetarian because I am not totally for veganism. Right. When that you are on a plant-based diet, you are eating a lot of fiber. So when you are having fibers from the plant sources, which are mainly unavailable polysaccharides, that means they don't get digested in the body, they are passed on to the colon. There they ferment and they cause bulking of the stools. They also help in production of some of the good microorganisms, and they also produce short chain fatty acids, which are very good for the health of the intestines. Right. Somewhere down the process, you also mentioned the cancer is very less.
Heart diseases,
yeah,
yes.
So because of that, they start suddenly feeling very good, once they are on a vegetarian or a plant-based diet. People who are on animal-based diet, when they convert to a plant-based diet, they feel good is because of this also.
But the big question is, can it actually cure chronic diseases?
It will help in curing the chronic diseases. There are many other dimensions. It's not just the diet alone.
What are those dimensions?
It could be the environment, the level of pollution, the stress factors that a person has, whether or not he is having alcohol. Alcoholism also, I think, may be a veganism because it is from the plant-based sources. And then whether a person is smoking or not smoking, and so on and so forth,
So according to you, being
also
a vegan does not mean that suddenly your all your chronic diseases that you're suffering from can be cured?
I don't say that it will not cure.
Okay.
The impact is great, tremendous. It is going to be tremendous, but we should also be very cautious that it is not a cure-all for everything. It is very good. I'm not denying that.
Okay.
But having said that, we should also consider the other aspects of veganism also.
All right. We'll speak to Arun Kumar now, who's a nutritionist on this. But before that, we have a question for our viewers. Will you stop eating meat after knowing the numerous health benefits of veganism? Do you think vegetarianism is fine, but veganism is extreme? Well, you can tell us. Or why not? Will you go in for veganism? Now, call us on the numbers that are flashing on your screen, or you can also SMSs. Now, Arun, as a nutritionist, I did ask Professor Joshi. She says that it's not necessary that being a vegan will actually cure all the diseases or at least stop it. What do you have to say about this?
See, when we talk about veganism, right, we need to include, as per Professor Madam said, that we have to consider other parameters also. Stress and the pollution, which is there, where we are roaming around. Okay, and we need to consider even the genetic parameters, what our parents have gifted us. So we need to learn about ourselves first of all, what our genes are coded with, and then we can start on with a vegan diet, or a mixed diet, which helps you to live in a bit better way. When you say, yeah, veganism, it's I would go with ma'am saying that rather calling it as a vegan, call it as a vegetarian diet, because most of the people do not follow the vegan diet completely.
True, yes.
Okay, and yeah, stopping of the disease, it doesn't occur in immediate stages. We need to follow up on that. Following the vegan diet, yeah, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. You need to be, enroll with that for years together. It doesn't start at the age of 25 or the age of 35 or the age of 50. You need to, when the kid is born, you need to teach what is vegan diet at that time, so that you need to know about the genetics. So that helps in this way.
All right. Well, we are also now joined in by Yogi Ashwini ji, who is the guiding light of Dhyana Ashram and also a well-known yoga and spiritual expert and guru. Thank you for coming for this. Veganism, what do you have to say about that? Do you actually believe it can cure all these chronic diseases that people suffer from?
You see, when you talk about disease, the first thing you have to see is what are the causative factors. Why does a disease happen?
Okay.
You just can't have a cure-all. Like you can't have a Ramdev Kapal Bhati, for all the disease cures.
Correct.
You have to have the reasons why the disease is set in. And they will tell you very honestly, the majority of diseases which set into a human being in today's date is because of emotional congestion.
All right.
And because of the chemicals which are ingested through food. And thirdly, because of the cosmetics which we put on ourselves.
Okay.
There's a heavy spray of endosulfan, urea, in the food which we eat. If you just grate the food, you'll find it filled with this chemical, filled with it. The cosmetics which you put on yourself, which are even called herbal cosmetics, they've got parabens. Known herbal brands use oxybenzone in their sunscreens.
Okay.
They use phthalates, which are derivatives of plastics, in shampoos. This is all absorbed. You see, the skin is the biggest absorbent in the human body. Okay. So much of layer in the skin.
True.
So when you start that soap which you rub on your body,
deodorants and spray, yes.
Perfumes. I'm just coming one by one.
Okay.
Soap which you rub, it is SLS and SLES inside it.
Correct.
They are all known carcinogenics, known, established facts. So you eat a vegan diet, but you put on those cosmetics, you breathe that air outside. Emotionally you are tense, nobody is happy in the homes. Everybody is dissatisfied. So where will the disease stop from? How will the disease stop, you tell me, no?
So best is to be a hermit.
Emotional.
No,
hermit. I'm not a hermit.
No, go to the Himalayas as such.
Did I say that?
No, I'm just saying.
You explain that why go to the Himalayas?
No, because when you talk about the air and all that, so I think that's the best option for people to,
but
if they actually want.
Do you think today in the Himalayas the air is pure?
There also, yes.
You know that? In the Himalayas it's more polluted. You know why? Because the air quality is so thin there.
Okay.
When one vehicle will pass, it will pollute 10 times more than here. So you forget if you think even in the Himalayas the pollution is not there. You see, you breathe. I'll tell you what happens. There's a thing called strangling of the body. When the body gets strangled, when you inhale all that pollutants inside yourself.
Okay.
Like I'll tell you in the West, you say the air is very pure. But I can't walk on the street in the West because everybody will have a chimney attached to their mouth. So you can't take one breath. You enter a shop, enter a mall, it's full. It's actually full. Yeah, so they compensate like that. And emotions, what I'm talking about. Emotions. Just name me one happy man. I don't have to go to the Himalayas to be happy. I'm happy here only. Okay. So what I'm suggesting is don't go to the Himalayas. Do your improvements here, what you can do. There's so many things which can be done. You have this vegan diet.
Okay.
How will it help you? It's completely devoid of fat.
Okay.
Because there's no ghee, no pure ghee in this.
Okay.
And cow is supposed to be a worshipped animal only because of this reason. That the color of the cow ghee is indicative of its properties. So when you ingest that inside your body, it looks after the majority of the illnesses because it washes off. Which is a major detox in Panchkarma is they give you cow ghee to drink for 1 week continuously every day, 1 glass. So you see, these fads come.
All right.
They are not there in a culture. As a matter of fact, they are not there in any developed culture. Maybe somebody wants to sell some new different kind of a thing. So these fads will come and these fads will also go away. The science which is Shashwat is the science of Ayurveda, which is there, it's always been there, and it's undisputed, that very fact. So because it explains the human body as a balance and as an imbalance. As the imbalance will set in, disease will set in.
All right.
And if there's a balance, nothing can harm you, nothing can touch you.
All right. Now, as Raghu, as a food expert, everyone, when you talk about veganism, people do not have like dairy products, no milk, no ghee, no butter, but vegetarians do have that. So what are vegans actually suffering from? Because we are told, we were speaking earlier, that they need to take supplements in order to get this.
One quick, I was involved with an ashram in Coimbatore, a very big ashram, where people go vegan, and they have huge deficiency of B12.
Yes, vitamin
And
B12.
B12 deficiency is leading to homeostasis buildup and cardiovascular problem. It's an independent risk factor for heart attack, apart from cholesterol. Medically recognized 2 independent risk factors.
Let the statistics come. You'll get so many such things. Let the statistics come. If you don't have proper statistics for these kind of diets.
Dhyana teaches to listen to the other person, if you don't mind.
You go to teach me Dhyan. I don't think you're competent.
No, I'm so
All
sorry.
right.
I don't think you're competent.
Let me. I'm sorry.
Go on, go
So,
But you can try.
no, I'm sorry. These are the 2 independent. I think I would like to have less stress. You said you less stress.
I don't give stress. I remove stress.
So these are the 2 factors. Homocysteine builds up when you don't have B12, and so that's a problem. But I think we need to also look at veganism in certain context. Otherwise, this discussion can go, in haywire. I would say today in the West, veganism is catching up because they consume more than 100 pounds of meat every year. It is a meatified diet. So the whole world today talks about 2 dangers in the human diet: meatification and wheatification.
Okay.
So this is a danger for the whole world. So the excess meat, it's not just the meat per se, but what meat, how it is produced, what kind of condition it lives in. Whether a cow walks 20 kilometers, milk quality is very good. If the cow doesn't walk, you will have high cholesterol in the milk. So you will have to always see in the context of this and this, you have to connect things. That's why I always say the food quality, we need to talk from farm to table. And it's very important today that entire health has been medicalized. Health has been hypothecated to medical system. Health has become, society has become a disease-mongering society, a sickness-seeking society. Yes, we have converted the planet into a slum planet with sick people, and everything is medicalized. So there is a very important thing. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, said, "Let food be thy medicine thy food."
So he didn't say what food to eat, what not to eat.
No, he said, see, it's very important. 1 lakh years before we set out from Africa, we have been hunter-gatherers. Agriculture began 10,000 years ago. It's very
Before
recent.
that we were hunting animals.
We have been hunter-gatherers.
I think it's a joke what he's talking.
Why do you say
Very
that?
You can
poor
laugh
joke.
at it.
But a poor joke.
You can laugh.
No,
No,
let's
that's
see,
not
let's see
laughing.
what
No,
he
I'm not.
You see,
Wait,
it's
you-
so unfortunate.
Hold on, let
It's
him
so
make his point,
unfortunate.
then we'll take that.
No,
All right.
I would like to
No,
intervene
like-
here about this hunter-gatherer thing.
No, you see,
Yeah.
we need to study. If you believe anthropology, social science, let's bring the religion and Ayurveda later.
All right, 1 second. But why do you say that it's a joke?
Not a joke, it's a poor joke.
Okay, a poor joke.
Because a person who belongs to the Vedic culture, was born in this country, it is part of the Vedic culture, talks what a science which is only 200 years old is telling. The entire Western sciences are telling this, that this culture, like 10,000 years back, we were hunter-gatherers. Let me tell you, 6,000 years back, there was a text which was written. That text is called Shatpat Brahman. It describes in detail gravity. It describes in detail how the earth functions, why the axis of the earth is tilted. Now, if it is describing these things, what is magnetism?
I think we are going out.
Yeah,
of
what
this
about
context.
food? Yeah,
See,
what
I-
about
I'm
the
saying
food
the same
aspect?
thing for yourself. Look at this.
What he told me is the same
No,
thing
I
for
tell
yourself.
you, he's
You
talking
need
about
to
6,000
listen.
years.
You need
You
to
can
listen.
measure your body
You need to
through
listen.
genetic
You
pathways.
need
Let
to
him make his
listen.
point, yeah.
You need to listen.
I think we should.
You need to listen.
No, the solar system.
You need to
What about
listen.
the-
If you want to be heard, you need to listen.
Yeah.
What about veganism? Yeah, what about
Yeah.
food?
Question is this, what I'm trying to say is that he commented on that, okay, this is, we hunter-gatherers.
Okay.
You see, Sir John Woodruff said a very nice thing in this. He said, my ancestors were those Vedic rishis. Those who think there were monkeys, let them believe that, because that would be a fact. That's why they believe that.
See, whether you believe in Darwin theory of evolution
All right.
or you want to go back to
Nobody
Vedic
teaches
it's
Darwin.
different.
No,
What do you
nobody
teach
teaches
our
the
children? Yeah?
All right,
Believe
Professor
in
has a point to
nobody
make.
teaches
Nobody
Professor,
teaches
all
Darwin
this
in the West.
intelligent design.
veganism.
Nobody teaches Darwin in the West today.
No,
It's
I-
all
Come on, my
outdated.
goodness.
It's
My
outdated.
goodness. This is the best
It's only
joke
in this
I've ever
country
heard.
that Darwin is
All right,
God.
let's go to what
God.
Professor.
What is the
Professor,
best?
you were saying you
Tell me the
wanted to make a
difference.
point.
This is the
Which
best
system?
joke, yeah.
Which system?
I just.
All right, let's get back to veganism,
Come on,
Professor.
where are you, gentlemen?
I'll make
Where
a
are
point.
you?
Sitting here.
Oh God.
pull the discussion back.
Yeah, that's what I'm pulling it back, Professor.
I just he spoke about the anthropological thing. Now, no, it's something to do with veganism and non-vegetarian food. See, I have also studied a little while ago how the progression of the kind of selection of foods the human beings made. So from the time they were hunter-gatherers, the moment they got the tools, when they could kill the animal, it corresponded with an increase in their brain size, because they were expending less energy, because these apes, they eat a lot of grass. And they use up a lot of their energy in digesting and foraging for it. So when the human beings, this is what I've studied, when the human beings got the tools to kill the animals, then they had a huge amount of energy which was available. I am not promoting non-vegetarianism. I'm just talking about what happened, because we are also evolving. We are not what that hunter-gatherer was, we are different from that. But I'm just telling that when he killed a huge animal, he could then wait and eat and think, and his brain started functioning better, and he started progressing. So non-vegetarian food intake has helped human beings, but today we have cultivated the earth so well that we can get a lot of grain. Now producing grain per hectare is much cheaper. He will talk about it. He will talk about it.
Then just add that it is brain size enlarged post-cooking.
Post-cooking but also the fact that he was having access to that huge animals, which gave him the time to be more creative, and that gave him the opportunity. So non-vegetarian eating has helped the human beings, but today the situation is very different. Even our rishis were non-vegetarians, and after some time they became vegetarians because there was something wrong in eating red meat, which we have actually, the entire Hindu culture has stopped eating red meat, because it produces a lot of toxins in the body. So why should we just go on going back to those times? And Americans today, they are waking up to the fact that eating all that is bad, and the more intellectuals among them are going to this veganism, and he'll talk about the production aspects.
Now Shalini, you're a nutritionist. The biggest question that people want to know is, being a vegan or a vegetarian, what exactly is the difference, and how will it really help? Because many believe that you need milk for calcium, you need to have dairy products for certain nutrients that you will not get if you're vegan. So what basically is that difference, that slight difference?
So if you're going to be a vegan, you have to do it with caution, because as he said, you're going to have a B12 deficiency at the end of it. So even in the Clinton interview that was played, he said he takes a protein supplement, and my suspicion is it probably has B12 in it. So if you can be a vegan and do it with caution and with knowledge of what you're doing, then it's fine. It'll reduce your cholesterol level, it'll probably stop heart diseases in its track. But if you do it with ignorance, you can go completely wrong. You probably end up eating very, very fatty food. You might eat nuts and have an excess of foods that you don't require. So I think vegetarianism is just right. It's worked perfectly. Non-vegetarianism is all right also, as far as you know your portions and you know what you're eating, it'll all work out.
So you see
have
that
your fiber.
Before people go in to become vegan or turn vegan, it's best that they actually consult their doctor.
Yes, I think they should, or they should read up enough to understand. And from what I know, veganism does include nuts, which wasn't in the clipping that you showed. And if you have enough nuts and sprouts and vegetables in your diet, you're pretty well off on a day-to-day basis. Yes.
Now, Yogi ji, earlier in the earlier text, because you were talking about the dairy products were there, they were very much present. Milk was drunk, or butter was utilized in most of the and all the dishes that were made. So going vegan really doesn't make sense. This is my personal opinion.
You see, when you change your diet, you have to look first at your genes. What is your genetic code?
Okay.
If your ancestors have been living in a terrain where hunting has been the basis. First of all, Ayurveda does not talk about vegetarianism at all.
All right.
In Ayurveda, all kind of diets are prescribed.
Okay.
So now what happens, if your ancestors have been like that, and if you suddenly take to being a vegetarian, then you will have deficiency of iron, what they're suggesting, in your blood. You will have.
Okay.
So you have to then supplement it with foods. Now, one interesting thing here is when you eat a lot, because if you are going to go vegan, you will have to eat a lot to fill up your stomach, because since the fat content is not there, the stomach has to be filled up.
Correct.
So when you eat excess, the body requires that much energy only to digest that, because every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
So when you are digesting that food, what you are eating, when you are stuffing yourself with, or the supplements which are normally very heavy foods, then the body is going to create more toxins simultaneously. You must understand that. The body will create more toxins, because the more energy produced, the more toxins, the more energy required. So to eat that bulk, normally when doctors also recommend, or people recommend, stuff yourself with salad, stuff yourself with this stuff, because stuff with that, and don't have grease, don't have ghee. So that is not correct, because if you have grease and ghee inside, it cleanses your system. So it is an essential part. All this is an essential part. Just go and look at your ancestors, what their diet patterns were. And if you want to change, you see, it's always best to be a vegetarian. It's always best. But if your lineage has been like that, let's say you are a Pathan, and if you are given dal and roti to eat, you're going to fall sick within 3 months. So you have to gradually change. Because meat diets, I'll just give you a little example about meat diets. See, we are doing a lot of work on saving cows. One of the main reasons why we are saving cows is that any cow which we used to earlier pick up from the road, and you people will be shocked at this, any cow which we used to pick up from the road used to die within 15 days. 15 days. Then I started doing the postmortems. Their stomachs were filled with plastic.
Yes.
Filled. So you can imagine the state of the meat that is going to come out. Filled with toxins. Hospital wastes, syringes, needles. I don't know what all comes from the stomach of these animals which are lying on the roads. Here in this country, it is best to be a vegetarian, because there are no restrictions from the government side. You just sell any meat in the market and it is safe. Done. Go ahead with it. So 2 things which I said is, first, what you eat should be clean. Secondly, you have to see your lineage, and don't eat much. As per the techniques of anti-aging, you have to eat less, and you have to make your body more efficient. It's a question of not the diet, it's the efficiency of the body.
So you actually support veganism?
No, I don't say that.
You don't?
No.
So, okay.
Because it's got no grease inside, like there's no ghee inside.
No ghee,
so
no
it
grease.
can't cleanse. And
you
eat
also
more.
spoke about it creates more, your body starts to create more toxins.
Yes, 100%.
So in a way, when you actually
100%.
say, I'll ask the nutritionist, because when you actually say that it's going to help and cure chronic diseases, like Yogi Ji says that it starts to, you start to create more toxins. In that way, it's bad.
You see, we need to also see. Let's talk about vegetarianism, and veganism is totally free from anything of animal origin, including milk, and that's the issue.
No, but if you turn vegan, the toxin, like you said, you're
Because
actually
every action is equal opposite reaction.
No,
so it's not helping to cure your diseases.
I would not accept that, saying that being a vegan will form more toxic levels in your body. See, as I told you before that when you started in a kid, he will not be producing toxic levels in his body. Obviously, it will not happen in the childhood. We are not having a restriction with the age, right?
So somebody like Clinton, he has started. He's now what, 70s?
70s. But he would have started with the protein supplements and all, as it was there in the clippings. The clipping doesn't say that he was free from the supplements. The supplement contains all kind of proteins and minerals and vitamins and everything, which is a mix of all the things. The supplement which is not from particularly the vegan one.
All right.
Okay. The supplement is generally, there are 2 kind of supplements. One is the non-vegetarian one and the vegan one, and when there's
so you say that he would have been on the non-vegetarian supplement first?
Obviously.
When he stopped it.
Exactly.
But you see, you need to also remember that, see, what a human being is. Man is a broad spectrum feeder. There's Maasai tribe which only drink milk, the blood from the animal. There's the Siberian people who eat only reindeer meat.
That's keeping in mind the temperature, the climate, where they are.
Health is an ecosystem function. Again, I think we are paying too much attention to genetics. I'll tell you today, there is a new science called epigenetics. What it says, control over the genetics. See, we all have genes. We all carry oncogenes, cancer genes. They can be switched off or switched on. Gene expressions and gene suppression depends on what we eat and the ecosystem and the stress and strain and